Hey besties, welcome back to Minnie in the Mountains. It has been a bit and I apologize, but I'm coming at you today with such a fun, such a quick pattern that is sure to get your Sewjo back in an instant. It's going to do awesome at markets. It's great for everyone. I'm talking about the zippered pouch with tissue holder from Sewn Ideas Patterns. Let me walk you through exactly what this bag has got going on. So you have this really cool overlapped flap on the front that opens, and you can stick one of those little mini Kleenex packs inside of it, or you can use it for other stuff too. I don't know, whatever you want to use it for. But of course my store was completely out of those little mini packs, so I couldn't show you. But that is its main purpose. And then you open it up and it's just got a nice open flap. You can stick your cards in there, cash, money. If you're on a cruise, you can put your cruise card in there. I want to go on a cruise. Can you tell? I added a little D-ring that is not in the pattern, but I think it would be really great, you know, to clip onto different things so you don't lose it. I added a little sewing blurb and a tag from Heartwood and Hide, and this one glows in the dark. It's awesome. You should definitely go check these out because it's so much fun. All of my fabric is waterproof canvas from, it wants to focus on my face, from Fabric Therapy. I love it. I am pretty sure that my zipper pull is from Wizardry Stitchery, and my little D-ring is from Luxe Hardware and More. My preferred fabric for this is waterproof canvas, just because it's easy to manipulate, it's easy to fold, it keeps those folds in there. I have made Minnie with waterproof canvas. But I have also made it with Hexatex Ripstop from Soulful Therapy, and it's great. It's super lightweight, which is awesome. So definitely recommend that. And I've also made it with bonded nylon from Wonderground Fabrics. Now, speaking of this one, this is how the pattern is originally written. I do make some modifications on the one that we do in the video. You can see a little difference. So the one in the pattern, the zipper is sewn completely into the seam, which is totally fine. However, I didn't like how it kind of puckered and I couldn't get those bits out. So I changed it. I did the zipper install a little different, and I show you how to do that all in the video. And I really love how it came out. So if you are looking for something to get your Sewjo back, looking for something for markets that's a cheaper price point that anyone can afford but everyone can use, and you want it to be a scrap buster with minimal fabric and hardware, this pattern is for you. A big thank you to Sewn Ideas Patterns for allowing me to film this video and use your patterns in my videos. I love Sewn Ideas Patterns. I just made the book sleeve from them, and it is chef's kiss. All of her patterns are written beautifully with beginners in mind. So if you're just starting out, these are for you. And if you're an experienced sewist who just wants to knock out a bunch, her patterns are for you. So let's get to sewing these. If you like my content, I would love it if you hit that subscribe button, give this video a big thumbs up, and leave me a comment down below and tag me on socials. I want to see your little tissue pouches. So let's get going. All right, let's go through all of our pieces that we need for this tissue pouch. I highly suggest on the back of the pieces to either mark what exactly that piece is or keep the pattern piece with it, since they are all rectangles. It's very easy to get confused. This is our top front piece, You need 1 cut of that. This is waterproof canvas from Fabric Therapy. So 1 cut, top front. This is our bottom front piece, 1 cut. And as you can see, I have my pattern pieces with it. 1 cut of that. And this is our inner front piece, 1 cut. This is the piece that you will see underneath the 2 flaps on the front. So you won't really see it unless you open it up. I like to keep that the same as my lining fabric. And then we have our back piece and lining. Those are all in the same pattern piece. So this is my back cut. And then I have my 2 lining cuts. Okay, and I have found the centers of the long edges of every single piece. It'll make construction a lot easier. The rest of the stuff that we're gonna need, you're gonna need a cut of zipper tape. I'm doing the zipper a little different than in the pattern. I cut this piece down to 6 inches. Doesn't have to be precise. We're gonna make it the length that we need to as we get there. And then I have a cut of waterproof canvas that I'll be using for my zipper tab. I cut this to 1 1/4 by 2 inches. And then I have a cut of waterproof canvas that is 1 inch by 2 inches. And this will be for our D-ring tab. That's completely optional. You do not need to add it. If you do, you're gonna need a coordinating sized D-ring. I'm using a 1/2 inch. And then I have 1 zipper pull. This is number 5, just to be clear. Number 5 zipper tape and pull. I'm using a little tag that we'll put on the back panel when we get there. And I'm using my Sew On label from Heartwood and Hide. This glows in the dark. It's something new that they're offering. I highly recommend going and checking those out because they are super fun. And then I have my vinyl marking pen. I forgot to add this. Don't mind all the gobbledygook on there. I'm going to be using some 1/8 inch wide double stick tape from Weft and Warp. And then of course a healthy supply of Wonder Clips. And then the thread that I'm going to use is, what is this? It does not say the name, from Swag. It's a beautiful purple color in Tex 70, and this is all done on my Juki 1181N. All right, let's get started with some of the prep work. We're going to need that cut, if you're doing the D-ring tab, the cut of the D-ring tab, and your 1/2 inch wide D-ring. You can also use a swivel clasp on there, that's cool. I'm gonna use some 1/2 inch wide double stick tape. You totally don't need to. I drew a line down the middle of that D-ring tab, putting some tape, peeling the backing off, and then folding those long edges to that line. Okay, once we have that all pressed in, the raw edges are now on the back. We are going to sew down just the 2 long edges at 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I like to use a 5 stitch length for my industrial. Okay, we have those side stitches. It's not perfect, doesn't need to be. On the back, I like to put another little piece of double stick tape. I peel the back off, and then on that back side, we're going to slip our D-ring on and fold it in half to meet those edges. If you don't have double stick tape, or your machine doesn't like it, or you just don't want to use it, you can baste across this end just to hold it in place. And then I like to throw a clip on it, and we can set that aside. Moving on to prepping our zipper. Start with your zipper tab, and you're gonna fold this in half. I will take this to the iron, but for the sake of the video, I will do this all just like this for right now. So fold it in half and then unfold it. Take one of the edges and meet it to that halfway mark that we just did, the halfway fold, and fold it down or hit it with your iron, and then do the same to the other side. Meet them in the middle, like so, and then just fold it on itself. And then press that with an iron really well, and then we'll move on. All right, we got our little chompy zipper end right there. We are going to put our zipper pull onto our zipper tape. Okay, just like so. Don't fling it all the way off. We're gonna work with this end in a second, but for right now, take our little zipper end and slip your zipper tape all the way up to that zipper tab, and throw a clip or two. And then we are gonna take this to the machine and we're gonna stitch down 1/8 of an inch from the edge of that zipper tab. So we're gonna be sewing on the zipper tab. Did forget to mention, you should backstitch at the beginning and the end. You don't want that zipper tab coming off when we don't need it to. Now, I'm going to grab a small ruler, which I also didn't show because I stink at remembering that stuff. And we are going to line up the end of that zipper tab with 4 5/8 of an inch. Okay, and we're gonna mark a very small little notch, like so. And we're gonna do that for the other side as well. 4 5/8. Okay, and you should see that your tick marks should be in the same area. If not, go back, remeasure, and remark. Now, open up, I like to pull my zipper pull a little bit further down. Open up the end of the zipper pull when the zipper is closed. You're gonna open that end, and wherever those marks are, you're going to pinch. And you can see this end wants to fold that way. Let it do that. Kind of tuck that little ear fold in there. And we're gonna get a 90-degree curve like so. Also forgot to show you my scissors. Now, you can either take this to your machine and throw a couple basting stitches right there. I never have luck with that. So what I am going to do is I'm gonna take my scissors and make that even and let that end go flying into the abyss as a testament to my journey. And then I'm gonna take my lighter and very carefully, so I don't burn my fingers, just burn that edge and press it together. This will melt it so that they stay in that 90-degree formation. Okay, cool beans, now it's set. Now we do the other side. Find your mark, pinch, 90-degree fold like so. Snip the end. That one didn't go into the abyss. There we go. And melt the edges. Be sure not to burn your fingers. Very easy to do. And I did not catch it. That's okay. Because I did it wrong. Just goes to show you that no matter how many times I do this, I can still mess up, and that is okay. So we have both of our ends squared off like so. You can pull it up like that and just remeasure, double check that we are at 4 5/8. You can't see it. 4 5/8 from the teeth to the end of our tab. We're good. And now we're going to find the centers of our completed zipper. So I like to just fold it in half, meet the tab with the teeth, pinch, and then you can use a marker or some kind of marker. But I like to just make a tiny little snip. Don't come at me with the torches. We will make it so that it won't fray. Do the same to both sides. Now we have the tiniest little notches. Take your lighter if you do notches and just kind of burn on the inside. That'll prevent it from fraying in use. Okay, now our zipper is donezo and we can move on. We are gonna work with our inner front piece, inner front, our, can't see that, our bottom front, and our top front, okay? Make sure all your centers are marked. Take your inner front piece and lay it on your table, right side up. We're gonna be working with just the long edges. And then take your bottom front piece, again with the centers marked. We're gonna fold those wrong sides together, matching up those center marks. So line up that top long edge, fold it down, hit it with your iron, and then we're gonna top stitch along this bottom edge. So top stitch on the bottom edge, 1/8 of an inch away. I'm at a 5 stitch length and back stitch at the beginning and the end. Now taking your inner front piece, remember this was the bottom, so we are going to match up those center marks on the inner front and the bottom, and make sure that the sides are lined up as well. Okay, so there's our bottom. I'm gonna baste just around just to hold that in place. Okay, now we have that applied. You can also add double stick tape to the back of that if you don't want to baste it down. That's what I've done on the last couple ones and it's great. Now we're gonna take our top front piece and do that exact same process. So flip it to the wrong side, fold it in half, wrong sides together, match up the long edges, give it a press, and then top stitch down that long end at 1/8 of an inch, back stitch at the beginning and the end. Right, now this is what we have. You could also baste around this whole piece, just to keep it all together if you want. Back to this piece, find your center marks on your top piece and your inner front. Match up those center marks and the sides and throw some clips. On the sides, you're gonna have an overlap. Can you see that? The bottom piece is gonna extend further up. That's what we want. You'll have about, 3/4 of an inch overlap. That's what we want. Okay, and now we can baste the top piece in place at 1/8 of an inch away with a nice long stitch length. We got our nice little nami, and then you can put your pouch of like small tissues in there or whatever you want in there. Nice little accessible pocket. Okay, we're gonna put this to the side for just a second. All right, grab your back panel, your D-ring with the tab attached, if you are doing that. If you plan on using a tag, and your name tag. I like to put my name tag on the back just so it doesn't obstruct anything. All right, let's take our D-ring tab. So when we're done, I want my zipper to close to the left from the front of the pouch. So that means I want my D-ring tab to also be on the left-hand side. So when you're carrying it, it's all together. That means I need to put my D-ring on the right-hand side. Okay, so, because it's opposite, it's mirrored, right? So about an inch down from the top, doesn't have to be precise. Take your D-ring tab and place it like so. I'm a little further down than an inch, there we go. Have it extend about 1/4 of an inch. Just be mindful that we do have a 1/4 inch seam allowance around this whole thing, so you don't want to have it too close, but you also don't want it flush, because if that's hanging, you don't want that to be pulling out over time. So we're just going to base that down at 1/8 of an inch. Okay, now we have that installed. If you're wanting to use a little tag, a little sew-in tag, I like to put that opposite my D-ring, a little closer to the bottom, like an inch or so up from the bottom. You can determine where you would like it, or you can put it on the inside, or you can put both. If you're like me and you have 7 million of these tags, you want to use them up. So I'm just going to base that in place too, so I don't forget it. All right, we got our tag installed, our D-ring installed, and now I'm going to put my name tag like so. So I like to put it, I like to grab a ruler, and I kind of keep it lined up with the edge of that tag. But again, you can put it wherever you'd like. And I did put some double stick tape on the back of my tag. And center it as best we can. Ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to go ahead and just sew this down. Back panel is completely constructed. We can put this to the side just for a moment. All right, we're gonna be working with all of our pieces, so have them all close to you, ready to go. Let's start with our front and back, or front and lining piece, one of our lining pieces in our front piece, and our zipper. I have put double stick tape on my zipper and my lining pieces. You don't need to. I will tell you when to base if you don't have double stick tape. So like I said before, starting with our front panel, I want my zipper when closed to be going to the left. So I'm going to take off the bottom piece of tape from my zipper, and I'm going to lay that right side down, so teeth down against the right side of my front panel, and just line up the edges. Okay, if you're not using double stick tape, go ahead and baste that down at 1/8 of an inch. Now taking one of our lining pieces, I'm going to take off the tape on the top, and I'm going to take that right side down, plop it right on top, make a little zipper sandwich, that's the professional name for it, and line up that top edge again. The sides should also be meeting up really nice, and I'm going to unzip my zipper and move it as I need. Now we're going to go to the sewing machine and stitch along that edge with the zipper at a 1/4 inch seam allowance, back stitching at the beginning and the end. Move your zipper pull as you need. My camera decided to not record the last 2 segments where I flipped our lining. We flip our lining away from that zipper, and then we top stitch. So luckily I have another side to show you exactly what we're doing. So since that was gone, pay attention to this one, and you're gonna do it to both of them. So take your back piece now and our other piece of tape from our zipper. Peel that tape off and put the zipper right side down, matching up those center marks and lining up that top. Again, if you're not using double stick tape, go ahead and baste that in place at 1/8 of an inch away. And then take your remaining lining piece, remove the tape if you're using it, the tape backing, not the tape, leave the tape on. And put that piece right side down. Again, matching up those center marks. Aligning that top edge and making sure that all the sides are nice and together. Okay, now we're gonna sew down this side at 1/4 of an inch, back stitch at the beginning and the end. All right, this is the part that got cut off, so pay attention. We're going to flip that lining. Oh, let's close our zipper first. It makes it a little easier if the zipper's closed. Flip that lining away from the zipper. If you're using materials that you can press, go ahead and press it. I'm not going to. And then bring that back panel and that lining panel that we just stitched together, wrong sides. I like to throw a clip on the bottom to just hold it all in place. And then pull them nice and tight. Get your zipper out of the way and flatten that seam. I'm going to stitch all the way across, top stitch. I'm going to use a 5 stitch length, 1/8 of an inch away, back stitch at the beginning and the end. Okay, so this is what we have. We are going to take our 2 exterior pieces, open your zipper at least halfway. 2 exterior pieces come right sides together, and we are going to line up that top corner where all the pieces come together right there, and throw a clip. Making sure that our zipper tab, we're gonna kind of want to squish it so it points towards the lining. Okay, and the other side, I'm just making sure that all of those little folds kind of match up. And another clip. And we're gonna clip all the way around this bad boy. All right, once we have that all clipped, okay, making sure that that zipper tab, wherever it is on yours, is kind of nudged towards the lining side. Go to your lining side and mark in, I like to do about 1.25 inches from the end and just make a line. Okay, so that is the point in which we are not going to stitch to turn our bag out. So now, starting at one of those marks, I'm gonna go around the whole perimeter of the bag. In the pattern, she has you do this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. We are going to do that on the exterior part only. And then on the lining portion, I'm gonna increase it to a 3/8 inch seam allowance just to really suck in that lining, because we don't want no soggy bottom boys. Okay, so start here, back stitch, go around at 3/8. Once I get to this point where my exterior meets the lining, I'm going to decrease to a 1/4 of an inch. So I should be at a 1/4 of an inch at that point. 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, all the way around. Once I get to here, I'm gonna start increasing back to that 3/8 of an inch, and then end at my other mark at 3/8 of an inch and backstitch. You should not have hit your zipper tab or your teeth. And if you saw, I did have to use a hump jumper just when I get over the sides, just to make sure. And my stitch tension isn't getting jacked around. And I did go over a couple times on these sides and over that D-ring connector. And a little trick I like to use sometimes that I didn't mention, because if you are a beginner here, doing how I said is just fine. I do like to come in at like that 90-degree angle. Just helps for when we go to turn the bag to help it fold in on itself a little easier. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our scissors and we're just gonna trim down the seam allowance, especially at those corners. I like to kind of round it, just so when we go to push them out, they'll get nice and pointy. So you want to go kind of close to your stitches, but not super close. And then I do trim off right on the side there, on both sides, but we're not trimming off that D-ring connector excess that we had hanging over. So I'll take it off, and then I won't trim there. And then also the sides down here. Once you are happy, now it's time to turn and burn. All right, we are going to reach in, make sure that that zipper is all the way open. Reach in and just gently push it through that hole we left. Shouldn't be very difficult. It's a small bag and we left a decent sized opening. Make sure that you reach in there and pop out where your zipper tab is. Should be nice, and you will have the tiniest of holes. I don't know if you can see in there. You can see my finger. You'll have the tiniest of holes, and that is totally okay. Nothing is gonna get out of there, I promise you. Now I like to take my little turning wand from Oakla Roots and shove it in that hole and really get in those corners to pop them out. Being gentle, you don't want to rip your fabric, and do that to all of the corners. All right, once you're happy with how it is, again, making sure that you get up in that corner. You can also fiddle with it once we're done completely too. Now that's all we have to do is close up the hole. So where your stitching left off, just press those raw edges in all the way down and add some clips. You could add a fun tag in here as well. And if you're really feeling ambitious, you could hand stitch that closed. I'm not. And we're just gonna top stitch at 1/8 of an inch away. I don't go my full top stitch length. I usually do about a 4 in here just to make sure that that's nice and secure. Once we have that stitch, we can just push this in. Make sure to push those corners down inside there nicely. And then you can always give this a nice press. But you can see our lining is nice and tight in there. And our D-ring is hanging out, and we can put our tissue pack in there. Super cute. I love how fast these come together. How easy was that? Was that not like one of the quickest makes you've ever done? Super quick, super easy, and it's so cute. I wish I had one of those little tiny Kleenex packs to put in there. because it would just be awesome. But it's allergy season here, so everyone has them, I'm sure. And that means everyone needs one of these. So I hope you had such a fun time sewing this with me. I cannot wait to see all your makes of these. Until next time, friends, thank you so much for sewing with me. And make sure you hit that subscribe button, okay? I'll see you next time.